Namaste students, how are you doing? I hope you are fine. We are studying grammar again today and we are in unit 7 and we will be practicing conditional type 2 sentences today. So before we begin conditional type 2, I'd like to remind you that in unit 6 also we had talked about conditional sentences, and at that time we had mainly done two types, zero type and conditional type 1. So how much do you remember from the last lesson? I hope you do. Do you remember any example we did from the book last time? Okay, well, you try to remember. I'll write some on the board. One example was, if we heat ice, it melts. Okay. And the other one was, if Harry gets a good result, he will study medicine. So these were some of two of the examples that we practiced last time. What do you remember about these two? If we heat ice, it melts. What type of conditional did we call it last time? Do you remember? Yes, zero. And the second one, if Harry gets a good result, he will study medicine. This is type 1, right? First type. And do you also remember about their use or meaning? So what sort of sentence is called a zero conditional? When do we use it? Yes, it talks about some truth, which is also something which is always true, a general truth. And type 1 talks about a possibility, a real possibility or a simple possibility. So here, if we heat ice, it melts. It's a truth and it's always true. So it is a zero conditional. If Harry gets a good result, he will study medicine. That is a possibility, right? So Harry is a good student. If he gets a good result, he will study medicine. That is a real possibility. That is possible. So to express such type of possibility, we use first conditional. Now today we are discussing about another type. Let's move from the same examples. So same thing written in past. Harry got a good result, he would study medicine. See, I have just changed the tense of the sentence. So what difference in the meaning can you see here? Okay, instead of simple present, I made it simple past. If Harry got a good result, and will study changes into would study. So structurally, just the tense is changed, but meaning-wise, what is the major change? What do you notice? If Harry got a good result, he would study medicine means it's not possible for Harry to get a good result. Okay, sambhav chaina. In the first case, it's possible because Harry is a good student. So it's possible for him to get a good result. So it's about possibility, but here it doesn't seem possible for Harry to get a good result. Harry त्यति राम्रो स्टुडेन्ट हैन, त्यसैले उले राम्रो रिजल्ट ल्याउने सम्भावना चाहिँ छैन अथवा एकदमै कम छ. So that is the meaning of this sentence. Let's have a look at one more sentence, then I will talk about it again. If Harry had got a good result, he would have studied medicine. Okay, again the tense is changed. So simple past is changed into past perfect here, and would study becomes would have studied. So what change in meaning do you notice here now? If Harry had got a good result, he would have studied medicine means Harry did not get a good result. उसले राम्रो नम्बर ल्याएन. It had already happened in the past. यो चाहिँ भइसक्यो, यो सम्भावना होइन, यो भइसक्यो. हरीले राम्रो रिजल्ट ल्याएन. यदि उसले राम्रो रिजल्ट ल्याएको भए उसले मेडिसिन पढ्न सके हुन्थ्यो. But in reality today Hari did not get a good result, so he could not study medicine. So that is the meaning here, okay? So that means, let's again look at the differences between these three types of conditionals, okay? The first conditional, what does it show? It shows real possibility, okay? And the second type, if Harry got a good result, it shows it's not real, it's unreal or impossible. And this one, it's past already, but something that did not happen. Okay? So this way, there are basically four types of conditionals. Zero type is, it says about the general truth or something which is always true. It also, we can also explain it as cause and effect. So heating ice can be a cause here, and its melting can be the effect. हामीले आइसलाई ततायौं भने पग्लिन्छ. So that's cause and effect. So this type of sentence is called a zero conditional. If the if clause is in present simple tense and the main clause is in simple future tense, we had already discussed in detail about these in our previous class. This is called a first conditional, and it talks about possibility or real possibility. So sambhavana, sambhav cha. And the second conditional, second type of conditional is, that is, the if clause is in simple past tense and the main clause is consists of would plus V1, the verb, first form of the verb. And this type of sentence talks about something unreal, something impossible, or something hypothetical, okay? And the third conditional consists of the, again, an if clause with past perfect tense, okay? And the main clause in the third conditional type is would have studied. Would plus have plus the third participle form of the verb. And this sort of sentence talks about something in the past but which didn't happen. Okay, we will have more examples to be clear. Please ask your teacher as well if you are not getting any point. I'm sure your teacher is present there. Now we'll mainly concentrate about conditional 2 and 3, okay? If I won the lottery, I would buy a house. Similarly, if I were you, let's say, I would not talk to him. Just an example, okay? So what type of conditionals are they now? Can you tell? Yes, they are type 2 because the if clause in both the sentences, the if clause is in simple past tense and the main clause consists of would plus the first form of verb, okay? Would buy, would talk, this is a negative form. And what sort of thing does it talk about? If I won the lottery, I would buy a house. Does it show any possibility or reality? No. It is a hypothetical thing, right? Kalpana. मैले चिट्ठा जितेँ भने म घर किन्छु. चिट्ठा जित्ने सम्भावना छैन, तर पनि जितेँ भने घर किन्छु, ओके? If I were you, तिम्रो ठाउँमा म भइदिएको भए अथवा म तिमी भएको भए, I would not talk to him. म उसँग कुरा गर्दिन थिएँ. So this is again an hypothesis. म तिमी होइन. I'm not you, right? Similarly, if I were a bird, I would fly to Mount Everest, let's say. Okay? Again, another hypothesis. Kalpana. म चरा भइदिएको भए म उडेर सगरमाथा जान्थे होला. Okay? So these things are not real. These are just hypothesis. Something impossible. सम्भव नभएको कल्पनामा मात्रै सीमित कुरा. And to express such sort of thing, we use conditional type 2 sentences. Okay? Are you getting it? Now, let's have another example for conditional type 3. If they had come on time, they would not have missed the bus. Okay? So this is a conditional type 3. Why? It's really easy to identify whether it is conditional type 1, 2 or 3. It is a type 3 because the if clause here is in past perfect tense. Okay? Had come. And the main clause here consists of would, have, V3, the third form of the verb. Okay? Participle form of the verb. So if they had come on time, they would not have missed the bus. What does that mean? That means they didn't come on time. So they missed the bus. उनीहरु समयमा आएनन् त्यसैले उनीहरुको बस छुट्यो. So that is the situation. Okay? So to talk about past thing, यो भइसकेको कुरा हो. यो अहिले प्रेजेन्ट को अथवा फ्युचर को सम्भावनाको कुरा होइन. Okay? यो भइसक्यो. It's about past, but something that could not happen or did not happen in the past. उनीहरुले बस समात्न सक्नु पर्थ्यो, भेट्न सक्नु पर्थ्यो, तर त्यस्तो भएन. किन भएन त? Because they were not on time. They didn't come on time. Okay? So to talk about something in the past that did not happen, we use conditional type 3 sentence. Okay? So the same sentence can be written in another way as well. Okay? Had they come on time, and the main clause remains the same. Okay? So this is another type of structure. This is also a conditional structure. यस्तोमा चाहिँ if लेखिदैन, sometimes you also may find this type of structure. The had thing comes in the front. सबैभन्दा सुरुमा had लेखिन्छ, and then the subject, and then the participle form of the verb and other things. So instead of if they had come on time, we can also write had they come on time. So it means the same. Meaning wise, it's same, but structurally it's a little different. But it is also a conditional type 3 sentence. Okay? So यसरी पनि लेख्न सकिन्छ यसलाई. Similarly, there are some other alternatives of if as well. Okay? Let's look at some more examples. If you come on time, again similar one, you will meet the teacher, head teacher, let's say. So this is a type 1 conditional, right? Now instead of if, we can also write as long as you come on time, you will meet the head teacher. So if ko ठाउँमा as long as लेख्न पनि सकिन्छ. Similarly, will, instead of will, you can also write other modals. I'm sure you remember about modal verbs. There was a lesson on modals as well before. Okay, you can meet the head teacher or you may meet the head teacher. So will can be replaced by other modals as well. Similarly, instead of if, we can write some other types of words as well like this. Okay? So this is another thing about conditional sentence that we had not talked in our previous lesson. Okay, now let's have a look at your book. Okay? Look at page number 76. There are some other examples of conditional. Page number 76. I have copied the same thing here. Okay, go through the following conditional sentences and discuss their meanings and structure with your friends as shown in the example. We have already talked about the meanings and structure of conditional sentences before. Let's have a look again. Unless Manita could sing, she would not be very popular. So what conditional type is this? Can you tell me? Yes, look at the tense of the clause. Could sing and would not be. So this is in simple past tense, right? So what conditional is it? To. Okay. And what other thing did you notice here? Instead of if, there is unless. We had talked about it in our previous lesson, so I will not repeat it here. If he had not come to Nepal, he would not have seen Mount Everest. So what type of conditional is it now? Had not come. It is in past perfect tense, right? And he would not have seen. So this is type 3. Okay? If Chanchala weren't the captain, the team would play better. So what type of conditional is this now? Yes, you can talk to your friend or your teacher. Weren't, simple past tense, would play. So this is the structure of which type of conditional? To. Yes. Had he invited me, I would have attended the party. Similar to the one we just talked about, right? Instead of if. So this is in past perfect tense, and this one consists of would have plus the third form of the verb. So this is also a conditional type 3 sentence, right? Provided that you are under 20, you can play the match. Now something new appeared here. We hadn't talked about it before. So this is equivalent to if you are under 20, you can play the match. So the only difference is instead of if, here is used provided that. So what does this mean? There is another type of word or phrase is also there which can be used instead of if, but it is still a conditional sentence. Okay. So you are under 20, you can play the match. What type of conditional is this now? Yes, it's in simple present tense, right? The if clause is in simple present tense. And the main clause is also in simple present tense. So, what is it? Yes, it is conditional type 1. And instead of will, can is used here. We just talked about the possibility of replacing will with other models, right? हामीले will को ठाउँमा अरु मोडल भर्ब पनि युज गर्न सक्छौं भनेर अघि भर्खर भनेका थियौ. सो यहाँ can को ठाउँमा will पनि हुन सक्थ्यो, may पनि हुन सक्थ्यो. So this is conditional type 1. Now, can you identify, by looking at the structure of the sentence, can you identify what type of conditional sentence is the sentence is? I'm sure you can. It is determined by the tense of the sentence, right? So I'm sure you can do it now. Let's have a look at number B as well. It's on the same page 76 of your book. Okay. Okay, some more examples there. Write down real, unreal or impossible conditions next to the following sentences. If you remember, with our previous examples, we had talked about the use of the conditional types. Okay, if everyone recycles paper, trees can be saved. What is this? What does this show? If everyone recycles paper, trees can be saved. So this is type 0, right? And what does this say? Truth. General truth. Okay? So reality. सबैजनाले पेपर रिसाइकल गर्यो भने रुख बचाउन सकिन्छ. That's the truth. Okay? If I had seen you, I would have said hello. Here this refers to had, okay? If I had seen you, I would have said hello. So what does this mean? This is type 3, and what does this show? Something that happened in the past, okay? Past. It's about past. मैले तिमीलाई देखेको भए हेलो भन्थे होला, but what does this mean? I didn't see you. मैले तिमीलाई देखिन तर, okay? So this is about past, conditional type 3. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. What does this show? Again, had studied, past perfect. So this is type 3 as well, and again past, which is not possible now. यो भइसकेको कुरा हो, त्यसैले अहिलेको अवस्थामा चाहिँ it's not possible, so it's impossible condition now. I didn't study hard and I failed the test. That is the meaning of this sentence, okay? मैले पढिन राम्ररी त्यसैले फेल भएँ. मैले राम्ररी पढेको भए म पास हुन्थे. So that is type 3, and it talks about the past thing which is not possible now. If everyone turns off unwanted lights, we can save a lot of electricity. If everyone turns off unwanted light, we can save a lot of electricity. So this is talks about real thing, real possibility, a truth, right? If you practice regularly, you can improve your performance. Again, type 1 conditional. Regularly practice गर्यो भने चाहिँ तिमी perform गर्न सक्छौ. So that is possible, that is real, okay? Provided that we reduce energy consumption, we can slow down global warming. So that is again real, possible thing, possibility. हामीले एनर्जी कन्जम्पसन भनेको ऊर्जालाई चाहिँ प्रयोग गर्ने जुन मात्रा छ हाम्रो त्यसलाई घटायौं भने ग्लोबल वार्मिङलाई पनि हामी बिस्तारै घटाउन सक्छौं. So that is real, okay? If I were a bird, I'd fly in the sky. So that is unreal, okay, or impossible. Hypothesis, हैन, कल्पना मात्रै हो. म चरा भइदिएको भए आकाशमा उड्थे. So these are the things. Now I'm sure you are clear about the differences. If you are not yet clear about it, please take help from your teacher as well, okay? Okay. Now there is a type of summary chart of all the discussion we just had, okay? हामीले अहिलेसम्म यो चारवटा टाइपको बारेमा जे कुरा गर्यौं अगाडिको क्लास र अहिलेको क्लासमा. This is a type of summary. So let's have a look at it again and we will move on to another exercise from the book, okay? अघिकै कुराहरु हो यो. So we have talked about all this before. There are 4 types of conditional: 0, first, second and third. You know about that now, okay? 0 talks about general truth or cause and effect, something which is always true, okay? And the structure is the if clause is in simple present tense and the main clause is also in simple present tense, okay? And the first type of conditional talks about something real or something possible. सम्भावना भएको कुरा, it talks about either present or future. अहिले सम्भावना भएको अथवा भविष्यमा पनि सम्भावना भएको, okay? And the structure is the main if clause is in simple present tense and the main clause consists of will plus the base form of the verb, or alternatively we can also use can or may, other models. Or it can also be an imperative sentence as we had talked in our previous class. Type 2 conditional, second type of conditional, talks about something impossible, something unreal or hypothetical. कल्पना गरेको जुन अहिले सम्भव पनि छैन र त्यो रियालिटी पनि होइन. And the structure is if clause consists of simple past tense and the main clause consists of would plus the base form of the verb, or alternatively might and could can also be used, okay? And the third conditional always talks about past thing that didn't happen. पहिलेको कुरा तर जुन हुन सकेन, यस्तो भइरहे भए यस्तो हुन्थ्यो भन्ने सेन्समा, okay? And the structure is the if clause consists of past perfect tense and the main clause consists of would or alternatively might and could plus have and the here the third form of the verb, participle form of the verb, here the base form of the verb, here also the base form of the verb, okay? I hope you are clear now. If not, you will need more practice and you will have to consult your teacher and grammar books also. There is another exercise in your book, page number 77. Have a look once. I will remove this now. And let's quickly look at this exercise and then we will move on to speaking, okay? Complete the following sentences with the appropriate forms of the verbs in brackets. Why don't you explain everything to him? If you him the truth, I'm sure you'll regret it one day. So what things give you clue here? यहाँ केही कुराले क्लू दिन्छ हामीले कुन कन्डिसनल हो यो र कुन टेन्समा राख्ने भन्ने कुरालाई. So what is the clue here? Why don't you explain everything to him? That means it's talking about the present thing, right? And something reality, हैन? So you will regret. Will plus be1 छ main clause. So that means what tense will the if clause be in? Yes. Do not tell. If you do not tell him the truth, I'm sure you'll regret it one day. So it's conditional type 1, okay? Jerry was here not long ago. If you had come round earlier, you... Okay, so what thing is giving clue here? Jerry was not here not long ago. It means Jerry has left now. So it's about the past thing, okay? So it is also giving a clue. And the if clause is clearly giving you another clue. If you had come round earlier, had come. So it is in past perfect tense. So that means it is a conditional type 3 sentence, right? So what would be the main clause now? Yes. Would have seen, okay? If you had come round earlier, you would have seen her. तिमी ढिलो आयौ त्यसैले उलाई भेटेनौ. तिमी छिटो आइदिएको भए तिमीले उलाई भेट्थ्यौ. So conditional type 3, okay? I'm so glad that you took me there. That means it is also talking about the past tense. हैन? You took me there. So that is about past. If we hadn't gone there, again past perfect tense in the negative form. So the answer should be would have never met. It was raining heavily. If I hadn't taken an umbrella, again about the past thing and past perfect tense in the if clause. So here, what is the answer? Would not have reached. Okay, so it's a negative form. If that job she is applied for, she will be delighted. Will be delighted. So it's conditional type 1, right? So present tense here. If she gets that job she has applied for, she will be delighted. So we've done this as well, but this is not enough for you. You will need a lot more practice to be confident about using these types of conditionals, okay? Now we will have a quick look at the speaking part of the same unit. Please look at page number 78 of your book, okay? There is one picture. Please have a look. What can you see in this picture? Talk to your friend for a minute. Look at the picture and guess what the people in the basket of the hot air balloon are talking about. It may not be very clear here. You can look at your book if it is not very clearly seen here. You can see a hot air balloon with a two hot air balloons, and you can see some people around here. So can you guess what they might be talking about? यो बेलुनमा भएको मान्छेहरु के कुरा गर्दैछन् होला त? What do you think? Please talk to your friend for a while. Yes, okay. Look at another number. There is given what they are talking about, okay? There were 6 people in the basket of a hot air balloon. There were 6 people. It couldn't, which was starting to fall. You say झर्दै थियो बिस्तारै because it could not support the weight of the people traveling in it. To save the others, at least one person had to be thrown overboard. So यसले त्यो मान्छेको भार थाम्न सकिरहेको थिएन. So at least one person had to be dropped down, okay? If you were asked to choose the person, who would you choose and why? यदि तिमीले त्यो एउटा मान्छे छान्नु पर्ने भएको भएदेखि who would you choose? So this is a hypothesis, okay, kalpana. This is not about a real thing. The travelers were a teacher, a doctor, an engineer, a business person, a scientist, and a leader. यो 6 जना मान्छे, एउटा टिचर, a doctor, an engineer, a business person, a scientist, and a leader. यो 6 जना मान्छे यो हट एयर बलुनमा ट्राभल गरिरहेका छन्. But the situation is such that one person has to be dropped down. So if you were asked to do that, who would you choose and why? कसलाई छान्थ्यौ तिमी र किन छान्थ्यौ? It's purely about talking to each other. So I would request the teacher to help your students with this and make sure they are talking the right way, okay? After that, have a look at another number. Of your book, probably on the next page. It's about the conditionals that we just talked about, so we will have a quick look at it, okay? Work in a pair. Student A asks questions using if plus past simple plus would verb. Student B replies the question. So did you understand what you have to do here? You are working in a pair. दुईजना काम गर्ने हो जोडामा, okay? One of you has to ask a question, and what structure do you have to use for your question? Yes, if past simple and would verb. That means conditional type 2, okay? And student B, the other person, has to reply it. There is an example given. Have a look. What if a teacher? So how is the question formed here? What would you do if you were a teacher? तिमी टिचर भइदिएको भए के गर्थ्यौ? Okay? And B replies, I would educate my students to fight against corruption and corrupted people. You just be careful about the structure because this is conditional type 2. You have to use would plus the base form of the verb, and after that you can write anything relevant, anything that comes in your mind. तिमी टिचर भएको भए के गर्थ्यौ होला जस्तो लाग्छ तिमीलाई त्यही लेख पछाडी, but be careful about the structure, okay? I would encourage them to hate such people. Another example, again the same structure, okay? So let's do it together. What if political leader? So what will be the question for A? A ले के question बनाउनु पर्यो यहाँबाट? Yes, what would, we are talking about conditional type 2, right? What would you do if you were a political leader? तिमी एउटा नेता भएको भए के गर्थ्यौ? So what can be your answer? B. I would, what would you do? For example, I would punish, okay, let's write the complete sentence, or this is fine. I would punish all the corrupt people, let's say, okay? म नेता भइदिएको भए चाहिँ भ्रष्टाचारीहरूलाई सजाय दिने खालको नीति ल्याउँथे अथवा something like that. So just remember, you have to use the appropriate structure, okay? Otherwise you can write anything you think that is appropriate. So please do the rest in the same way. Do in pair. One of you make a question like this. What would you do if you were the Prime Minister? What would you do if you were the President of America? What would you do if you got lost in the desert or like that, and another of you answer it using the appropriate structure. Remember, you are using conditional type 2. Okay. There is another exercise as well there. So at last we will have a look at that as well. Okay, number 4. We may regret using if plus the past perfect and would not have past participle. That means conditional type 3, right? So look at the example below and express regrets for the following situations. Past perfect tense चाहिँ हामी कुनै कुराको बारेमा पछुतो अथवा रिग्रेट एक्सप्रेस गर्न पनि युज गर्छौं. हामीले यस्तो गर्न सके भए हुन्थ्यो, गर्न सकेनौ type of thing. Okay, there is an example given, feeling sleepy. So have a look how the sentence is made. Okay, I am feeling sleepy. If I hadn't watched movie and TV till late last night, I wouldn't have slept in the class. मलाई अहिले एकदम निन्द्रा लागिरहेछ क्लासमा पनि. यदि मैले हिजो राति ढिलोसम्म टिभी नहेरेको भए अहिले मलाई यस्तो निन्द्रा लाग्दैन थियो होला. सो मैले त्यसो नगरे भए हुने रहेछ, type of thing. Okay, so you have to make similar sentences here. Not get good grade in the exam. Suppose you didn't get good grade in the exam. So what sentence can you make here? If I had studied harder, okay, a simple example, studied harder, I would have got good grades in exam. मैले अलिकति बढी मेहनत गरेको भए मैले राम्रो ग्रेड ल्याउँथे होला. So what am I regretting for? I'm regretting for not studying that hard. Okay, मेहनत नगरेकोमा पछुतो छ मलाई. So for all these others you have to make similar types of sentences, and remember this is a speaking exercise. So you have to speak with your friends, with your teacher, and there is a follow-up activity as well in your book. Walk in a pair. Tell your partner that you didn't do well in your exam because of your carelessness. Discuss what would have done to perform well in the exam. Again, similar type of thing. You have to talk to your partner, and if you need help from your teacher, do get that from your teacher as well. Now at last, there is a follow-up exercise in the grammar section as well that we didn't talk about. Okay, have a look at page number 77 of your book. Number C, follow-up activity. Write a short paragraph beginning with, if I were the Prime Minister of the country, I would. So this is a follow-up activity that you can do as your homework. And if you need help from your teacher or your friends, please ask them to help you. And please try to do this today at home, and in tomorrow's class or in your next English class, please show that to your teacher. Okay. So we talked about conditional sentences today as well, and we mainly focused on conditional type 2 and 3, but we also revised 0 type of conditional and conditional type 1. I hope you learned from today's lesson, but yes, it was not enough practice for you, so you should have more practice. So please consult your teacher, consult grammar books, have a lot of practice. And if you still have any questions or confusion, please ask your teachers, and dear teachers, please help your students. Thank you very much for today's class. We'll see you later. Namaste.